In a quiet corner of West Virginia, tucked into the hills of a place simply named Odd, there lives a woman whose existence has become an internet phenomenon. Loraine Whittaker is her name. She is often motionless, rarely speaks, but her image has been seen by millions. She belongs to the family controversially known as America's most inbred. Yet the label tells you nothing of the silence, the deep-seated routine, and the history she carries. What happens when a life defined by isolation is suddenly placed under global scrutiny? And what are we truly seeing when we look at a person who conforms to no expectation of speech or expression? Tonight, we step inside that weathered house to explore the unique reality of Loraine, a life that resists easy definition and, without uttering a single word, speaks volumes. Before we begin this immersive journey, we want to know where in the world you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Please drop your location and time in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the true stories we uncover here every day. Without uttering a word, Loraine Whittaker exists. Deep in the Appalachian hills, within a weather-beaten home, she resides in a secluded corner of the unusual West Virginia town of Odd. Anchored by the window, you might find her, often motionless, her gaze sometimes fixed outward, sometimes simply internal. Her existence is meticulously patented by habit, by routine, and by an unwavering presence. An anonymous figure in official registers, she is not a recognized name in the system, nor an ordinary face in any crowd. Yet a certain notoriety has been achieved, especially in recent years. Her image is one you have likely encountered. She is central to viral videos that have garnered millions of views. She rarely shifts position and never speaks, but within the frame, she is consistently there, perpetually watching or being observed. A member of the Whittaker family, Loraine is part of a group often controversially labeled as America's most inbred. This weighty description, however, falls short of capturing her reality. Far more complex than a genetic outcome, her life is a tapestry woven from routine, familiarity, and profound silence. An understanding of her immediate surroundings and the individuals within it is held by her, and that understanding is reciprocated. She is a mother to a son. Information about him, however, is scarce. A rare mention or a fleeting glimpse. His presence is an established fact, just like hers, though the specifics of his birth or arrival are unknown. Her past and her inner world are veiled in mysteries. A troubled, possibly violent beginning is suggested by whispers. Yet this is not a forensic document, but an examination of a life. On her own terms, or as near to them as possible, Loraine lives it. She seeks neither pity nor attention nor anything at all. But observe closely, and you realize she has always been there, quiet, unmoving, and utterly present. Like that of her siblings, Loraine Whittaker's life began entangled in the complex folds of a rare genetic web. This web did not start with her, and is unlikely to conclude with her son. Its origins trace back to a pair of identical twins, John and Henry Whittaker. Their children, who were cousins, yet genetically closer to half-siblings, intermarried. This was not an isolated incident, but an enduring pattern. For at least 3 generations, the Whittakers practiced marriage within the family, often between close cousins. The consequence was a genetic echo chamber. Each subsequent generation became more isolated, more profoundly affected, and increasingly confined by the silent force of heredity. Into this structure, Loraine was born. Records indicate her parents were Gracie and John Whittaker, already blood cousins. Gracie's own parents were also cousins. By the time Loraine arrived, the family's genetic diversity had dangerously diminished. Recessive traits, once safely latent, now had nowhere to conceal themselves. They manifested in physical characteristics, in delays to speech and neurological function, and in overall cognition. That is the clinical explanation. But science cannot capture the complete picture. Loraine is not merely a diagnosis or a syndrome, but a human being. She does not exist to serve as a textbook illustration. Yet a tale of chromosomes combining in ways they were never intended to is narrated by her physical reality. A living chronicle of biological isolation repeating itself. To describe this extreme level of inbreeding, researchers use terms like elevated homozygosity and consanguinity coefficients. For most, these are obscure concepts. For Loraine, they are a lived reality. The secluded setting of Odd, nestled in the Appalachian foothills, was only a partial catalyst. Geography played a role, as did persistent poverty, crippling stigma, and the profound silence that typically envelopes families like hers. Over time, what began as a lineage devolved into a relentless loop, a loop that tightened with each passing generation. Thus, not only her own DNA, but the indelible weight of a complex family history was carried by Loraine at her birth. Unlike most of us, she could not simply walk away from it. She is not the family's official representative, but her image is perpetually present in the media. Loraine Whittaker moves sparsely, speaks nothing, and yet is instantly recognizable. In the background of numerous videos, you will find her, slightly stooped, her expression blank, her hair always parted identically. Day after day, the same chair is occupied by her with the same posture. To many, she initially fades into the furniture, but once you notice her, she becomes impossible to ignore. She is estimated to be in her 50s, though her exact age is unconfirmed. No birth certificate has ever been made public. No medical records exist. From school registers, employment databases, and health systems, she is absent. Like so much of her existence, her identity is unofficial and undocumented. Yet she is far from invisible. Loraine never initiates communication, but her needs appear to be decoded by those around her. To shifts in tone, closeness, and established patterns, she reacts. She doesn't require complete sentences to make her presence felt. Volumes are communicated by her mere being. Who is she fundamentally? A daughter, a sister, and perhaps a mother. She belongs to a family that seldom offers explanations and a life that defies easy categorization. An interview has never been granted by her, nor has she ever spoken into a recording device. But make no mistake, all along, she has been communicating. One simply needs to learn how to interpret the quiet. Small talk is non-existent in the Whittaker household. Words may not be used by Loraine, but she is far from non-communicative. Like many of her relatives, she utilizes sounds, grunts, abrupt gasps, or an occasional hum. With meaning, her gestures are imbued, a shift in her eyes, the specific way she tilts her head when seeking something. It is a unique dialect foreign to outsiders, yet entirely functional within the walls of the house. It's tempting to equate silence with absence, but filled with a distinct rhythm is Loraine's quiet world. She responds when addressed. She follows routines, knowing when to sit, when to eat, and when to yield space. Not traditionally expressive, her form of communication is yet predictable, consistent, and understood. Ray, her brother, is the most overtly nonverbal family member, frequently responding to visitors with a bark or a grunt. More reserved is Loraine. She rarely acknowledges the camera. However, when a sibling's hand rests on her shoulder, she instinctively leans into the touch. When a familiar voice speaks her name, she turns. Patterns eventually emerge. Comfort, irritation, or curiosity is conveyed by her, all without uttering a sound. For those who spend time inside the home, these signals become crystal clear. There is no user manual for her inner world, no clinical documentation. Yet deliberate is Loraine's manner of being. It is a deep connection forged over decades, shaped by repetition, mutual trust, and constant proximity. To a stranger, it may appear empty, but live within that silence long enough, and you realize it is, in fact, speaking. The house at the edge of Odd, West Virginia, is more than just Loraine's residence, it is the boundary of her entire world. With every step, the floorboards protest. The walls are marked by years without a fresh coat of paint. A worn couch serves as a sleeping space. A dining chair doubles as a resting spot. Inside, the clear structure of time is absent. Daylight filters in sporadically, and routines are governed by deep-seated habit rather than a clock. Her domain is known to Loraine. She seldom ventures outside of it. When food is presented, she eats, she moves only when necessary, and for hours in the same spot, she remains seated. This is not a sign of passivity. It is an attachment to the known. She is not precisely trapped. She simply chooses not to leave. A protective circle around her is formed by her siblings. Ree grunts. Timmy hums. Betty manages the essential caretaking, providing food, blankets, and comfort. Together, they maintain a functional, if unconventional, state of order. It is neither pristine nor quiet, but it is unequivocally theirs. Frequently now, visitors arrive due to the online videos. Some offer donations, others come with probing questions. Minimal is Lorraine's reaction to both. The camera is treated with the same indifference as a piece of furniture. Loss has been witnessed by her, including the passing of Larry and others who remain unnamed. Through the same window, she has seen the changing seasons. Major life events transpire around her, yet unbroken her personal rhythm remains. Some might define this as stagnation, others as survival. But for Loraine, this is simply life. Not paused, not broken, but uninterrupted and continuous. Never did Loraine seek to be filmed, yet millions have seen her. Since 2020, the Whittaker family has transformed into an internet phenomenon. Filmmaker Mark Leiter's videos document their lives with a raw, unfiltered, and often controversial intimacy. Prominently in many of these clips, Loraine features, frequently silent and still, always under observation. Some argue this exposure has been beneficial, drawing in aid like donations, food, clothing, and even medical attention for certain family members. Leiter's stated purpose was to humanize individuals often marginalized by society. He filmed the Whittakers to demonstrate that despite their challenges, they are full, deserving human beings with inherent dignity. However, this view is not universal. Critics challenge the tone of the videos, noting the camera's focus on physical differences, the dramatic use of silence, and titles that prioritize inbreeding over individual identity. Some denounce the content as poverty porn or exploitation masquerading as compassion. Loraine, in particular, is seldom addressed directly. Within the frame, she exists, but from the voiceover narrative, she is excluded. She doesn't speak, is never interviewed, and her opinion is never solicited. This is likely due to the assumption that she is incapable of offering one. The vital questions persist. When does simple documentation transition into harmful exposure? And at what point does genuine awareness morph into mere entertainment? Their reality was fundamentally altered by the viral fame. People now arrive specifically to take photos. The local community either shields them or actively avoids them. A family once concealed by their location is now defined by intense global scrutiny. Throughout all this, Loraine remains largely unmoved. The lens watches her, but she offers no performance. In certain moments, she simply stares back, calm expressions, less present. It is impossible to know what she thinks or if she engages with the situation at all. But the question is not erased by her silence, it only makes the answer more elusive. With a peculiar gaze, people tend to look at Loraine. It is not a direct malicious look, but that swift involuntary glance reserved for the inexplicable or the things we prefer not to confront. Unspoken questions are prompted by her appearance. They are amplified by her silence. Online, terms like creepy, mutant, or inbred populate the comment sections, detached from the flesh and blood person they target. This is the inherent peril of the label. It reduces her from a distinct person to a type. The term inbreeding becomes a simplistic stand-in for a host of assumptions about intelligence, conduct, and even intrinsic value. Historically in the Appalachian region, this label has been weaponized to dehumanize the rural poor, framing poverty not as a failure of systems, but as a personal genetic defect. It effectively strips people like Loraine of their context and often their dignity. Her physical features, a result of generations of closed genetics, are viewed as cautionary symbols. Her deep stillness is misinterpreted as emptiness. Her unique sounds are dismissed as animalistic. In an instant, she ceases to be Loraine. She becomes a spectacle, a symbol. This act of othering is ancient. What is new is the reach, millions of eyes, immediate judgment, and a permanent digital record. Yet this image is not challenged by Loraine. She offers no protest. She simply continues to exist. That very existence is an act of quiet defiance. In a world that frequently treats her as less than, her presence asserts otherwise. She remains here. In daily life, most people don't whisper, stare, or point at Loraine. They simply walk by. For most of her life, she has dwelled in the background, not hidden, but consistently unnoticed. She has been in videos seen by millions, yet her name remains unknown to many. She is visible in the picture, but absent from the conversation. This is the silent fee of stigma, not active malice, but simple indifference. In the broader discussion, she is seldom mentioned, interviewed, or focused upon. While other family members speak or interact, often still is Loraine. Her lack of engagement leads the world to assume there is nothing to observe. But what if the issue is that we have simply never committed to truly looking? Shaped by her circumstances and isolation, her life unfolds silently. She does not seek the spotlight. She needs no external validation. She adheres to a rhythm that is fundamentally her own, untouched by outside curiosity or viral attention. The true narrative is not how others judge her, but how few people bother to ask who she is. Through attributes like productivity, charisma, or verbal expression, society often quantifies worth. Those metrics are quietly rejected by Loraine simply by existing outside of them. She offers no explanation for her being. In a world that measures everything by noise and visibility, a form of quiet truth is Loraine's subdued presence. She is not a symbol, nor a case study, nor a cautionary tale. She is a person, and she is still here.